This is the 161st Street Yankee Stadium station. On a busy game day, the subway is even more packed than usual, as people flock to the new Yankee Stadium to see their favorite team play, the New York Yankees. However, the fact that people are flocking to the new stadium highlights some issues for the neighborhood surrounding it. The neighborhood has remained as it had been in the days of the old stadium, except for the economic depression that has hit the area particularly hard. The modern new stadium juxtaposes the neighborhood of the old one and raises questions. How has the new stadium affected small business within the area? What is the fate of people living in the area? And what further development will occur? But first, let's take a look back at the history of the old stadium and of the great American pastime, baseball. Ever since the late 19th century, baseball has been referred to as America's pastime because it gained immense popularity and became the most widely played sport in America. Baseball was as popular in its day as television or video games are today, and one can even argue more popular since culture was less splintered at the time. People could always talk about baseball because everyone had some knowledge of it, and it promoted both cultural and social solidarity. The old Yankee Stadium that has been demolished in order to build the new one is not really the original stadium, but the product of a drastic renovation to the original completed in 1974. Originally constructed in 1923, the old stadium was built on land bought for $675,000 in the South Bronx by Yankee co-owners Colonel Jacobs Rupert and Colonel T.L. Huston. A stadium was built because the New York Yankees were attracting more than 1 million fans at games and had become the most popular baseball team in history. They needed a home of their own that could serve not only as their place of residence, but as a symbolic home of the sport of baseball. The old stadium had showcased some of the best, and some would argue the best, baseball players of all time, including Babe Ruth, Billy Martin, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Don Mattingly, Reggie Jackson, Derek Jeter, and Mariano Rivera. The groundbreaking ceremony took place on August 16, 2006, on the 58th anniversary of Babe Ruth's death, and was attended by Mayor Bloomberg and Yankee owner George Steinbrenner. The stadium cost $1.5 billion to build, making it the second most expensive stadium in the world after the $1.57 billion Wembley Stadium. Opening day was on April 2, 2009, and the Yankees would go on to win the World Series during their first year in the new stadium. Miss Elaine Rivera, journalism professor at Lehman College and former reporter for WNYC, was willing to give her insight on the new Yankee Stadium. She is currently composing a documentary that will document the new Yankee Stadium and its effects on 161st Street and the South Bronx. She believes the new Yankee Stadium has had a huge impact on local businesses that do not own their own property. According to Ms. Rivera, local businesses were looking forward to the building of the new stadium because they thought it would increase business within the area. However, in the end, their hopes have been betrayed. People are funneled into the stadium by the police and MTA. Indeed, Ms. Rivera stated that people are herded into the stadium like cattle, and barricades are used to prevent them from entering the local neighborhood. Many businesses are very upset by this, and they have taken action in order to combat the problem. However, the other day, Ms. Rivera was in the neighborhood and witnessed barricades being used once more, so she is skeptical that the problem has been fixed. Another problem within the area, according to Ms. Rivera, are the rezoning laws that have recently been passed and have rezoned the South Bronx to be used for luxury condos and apartments within the near future. The fate of small local business owners within the area is uncertain because they lease their property from landowners who will most likely sell out to big corporations who want to build condos and apartments. Ultimately, these businesses and many residents will become victims of gentrification and will have to move out of their neighborhood in order to make room for new, wealthier residents. President of the 161st Street Merchants Association and owner of a local pharmacy, Mr. Norman Klein, said that the association not only advocates for merchants, but also helps residents within the neighborhood. It hosts a back-to-school event every year and a Christmas party for homeless children. The merchants determine the vitality of the neighborhood, according to him, because they donate both money and time to help economically unfortunate residents of the South Bronx. Thus, if such merchants are not making money, it affects not only them, but residents as well. Willard Whittingham, a local bartender who has lived in the city all his life, says that the new stadium has affected business dramatically because it competes with local businesses. The stadium offers many more amenities than the old one did, including a Hard Rock Cafe, a steakhouse, and many luxury clubs and suites. An anonymous business owner on 161st Street says that business has been off by 25 or 50 or even more percent since the stadium opened. Having owned his business for over 25 years, he does not believe that only the depressed economy is to blame. He also believes that the new stadium is actively competing with local merchants. Deborah Eversley, a manager at Jeans Plus, a clothing store on 161st Street, has heard from personal friends that although the stadium gives many local residents jobs, they are very unhappy with them. Many people who worked in the old stadium had to reapply for jobs and make only minimum wage. Even those who work in higher-up positions make less money, according to her. The organization Good Jobs New York offers much research on the effects of the new stadium, not only on the neighborhood, but on taxpayer dollars. Taxpayers, in addition to local merchants and residents, will pay a high price for the construction of the new stadium. The public will end up paying $500 million for the stadium, and this cost drastically exceeds the economic benefits of the stadium. Also, the deal to construct the stadium was made behind closed doors and with little community input. The project has seized parklands like the McCombs Dam Park, and proposals to replace this parkland are inadequate. Ultimately, subsidies for the stadium will cost $480 million. There are not many proposals that can be made at this time to fix the myriad of problems that the new Yankee Stadium and future neighborhood development will pose to the taxpayer, the community, and the merchants. More research needs to be done in order to propose more complex solutions. However, a few things can definitely be done to rectify the problem. Public officials like Mayor Bloomberg and Bronx Borough President Adolfo Carrion must be held accountable for the problems that the new stadium presents to the public. Also, community stakeholders should be allowed to participate in the business of the stadium, and many organizations that want to participate should be allowed to at a reasonable price. Finally, community needs must be taken into account. Yankee Stadium is located in the poorest congressional district in the country, where nearly 60% of Bronx residents rely on income support from the government. The stadium must be adapted to suit the needs of the public. New Yankee Stadium's effects on the neighborhood around it, on taxpayers' dollars, and on the significance of baseball are immense. The issue boils down to a problem of public policy and the social and cultural significance of stadiums. Stadiums should exist for the benefit of communities and the public, and not for private or corporate profit. However, the stadium has already been built, the bird has flown, and now public officials and the public themselves must attempt to rectify the problems it has created, and to define both stadiums and public policy as institutions for the benefit of the American people and humanity.